Ba-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum. Ba-da-dum. Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of the Bloody Roar
Challenge.
character concept challenge review part 2.
You said part 2 in the beginning.
Okay, that's the official title though, 2.
Oh, okay.
I am Piglet, and I'm here with my pigpen partner.
Pumps.
Piglet and Pumps, you heard it. So we're going to be jumping right into the last
16 or so?
last 16.
Or 15.
And where we left off, we were looking at QBRT's entry here, and it says, hey, hello everyone, great to see all these entries and the ideas, love them. We love them too. So here's my finished character design for this challenge: the ancient Maya jaguar warrior. And then they made fun of themselves by saying creative name, huh? And then one of these faces. And they said, I wish I had more time, not really happy with the final result, but had to hurry. Love the process. I have tried to implement new things in my design rendering process, tried to understand what Dave shows us in his videos, and use these tips and tricks in my process. Still a ton to learn. Okay, let's look at it.
All right.
Bum-ba-da-dum. I think this one's great.
Yeah.
I like the overall concept and design generally between the two, but I really like, and again, this isn't about this, but I really like your rendering style.
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks really cohesive. The
Mm-hmm.
lighting is great on this one.
Mm-hmm.
You get your textures across really well.
Mm-hmm.
Your structure's good. And I like the format of your illustration, how you chose to show the characters together. I think that works really well as like a presentation. I think that just kind of, as a fighting game thing, as a duo, I like the way this looks.
I like, I think that she, or he, the warrior, looks pretty obviously transformed into that because of how they're decorated and the like pigtails and the clothing. But I like that it's kind of an unassuming, again, short king,
Yeah.
Like it just looks like kind of like this old dude.
Yeah, I think the kind of jaw that you have sticking out from it's coming, I don't know where it's coming from as far as like ornamentation goes on the headdress, but there's like a bone jaw coming down, and there's the spikes, which is the tiger's jaw. I think that's really cool. It's the jaguar. Shh. Hey, I'm not a cryptozoologist.
Oh, okay.
But I could be. I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you could do even more with that. Not to say that you have to, but the way that you have the kind of pattern on the jaguar and the skeletal piece there, like you maybe could have done a little bit more with that on the base character. Just because I didn't see the jawbone thing first. Only because I think it looks so cool.
It does look really cool. I like that. It's a really clever idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
That's awesome.
It's funny because I feel like on a lot of the ones that we like a lot, it goes either one of two ways. It's either
fast or...
we talk a lot about it.
I know.
Or we talk little because there's not a lot to say other than it
like
looks really good.
Yeah.
But this one looks great.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the other thing that I wanted to say before we leave, the presentation that you have, I like that it shows the amulet glowing, and you can tell that that's part of the transformation process into the jaguar. Like, I think that that's really cool, and it shows in this little illustration. I like that a lot.
Yeah. The little magic, the smoke kind of coming around it too.
Okay.
Next one. This is from Chips. Hi, this is my entry. Mang Yu Mang. Mang Yu Mang technically translates to old man hermit crab in Filipino. Oh, so then I probably butchered it. I challenged myself by approaching a different painting process. It was really hard and took longer than I expected, so I had to rush things at the end. But I learned a lot of fun while doing this challenge. I hope I can do better in the next one. This is awesome.
Yeah, this one's really cool. I love the hermit crab. I think that's great. I like that you... So
stay creamy.
Yeah, I like the stay creamy on the chest. But specifically, I like the little story thing you added, which is that the hermit crab obviously lives in that shell. It's its home. And then the base character has everything from home in that little sack.
That's smart.
So
That's a really good connection.
I love that. I like that that's like immediately visible as far as like some logic between the two. That's really cool. I love the Dr. Robotnik face you got going on that base guy.
Yeah, some creepy eyes.
And that the mustache is like the, I don't know what you call them, mandibles, the tentacles on the hermit crab.
Yeah,
like the little feelers.
Feelers and antennas.
And I like that on all the entries when people mimic parts of the animal.
Mm-hmm. But it happens so naturally too. Like
right.
It's not like forced at all.
I also like that his limp wrist is mimicking the like limp wrists on the hermit crab that are like hanging down in the center.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's really cool.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Because they have like the little legs, not their like main pincer things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, the rendering that you did on the actual hermit crab version is really solid too.
Mm-hmm.
I love all the texturing that you put in. I know there's like less textures going on in the base character. That's the only reason I bring it up. You rendered it more kind of realistic on that monster version.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I think like literally the only thing that I would suggest is losing that mirror, or not mirror, that like shadow thing.
That outline, yeah.
Yeah, that's popping off of each character. It just makes it hard to see each one of them.
Yeah, it kind of threw me off.
Like if you didn't have that there, I think it would serve it even better. Just in case you want to add this to something.
To like your portfolio or something.
Yeah. Just I understand like using it as like a graphic design thing, and I have seen that used in fighting games, but for this specific style, I think that you could lose that and it would be a little stronger just because it leans more real rather than like a graphic presentation. But yeah, overall, really good job. I totally get it. I really like this one a lot.
Yes. Next one's from Maddie. Okay, here is mine. Based off of a maned wolf plus Kitsune, I envision her as being a more agile fighting character. I realized too late that all of the animal forms in the game are more anthropomorphic, but oh well. Critiques are welcome.
I don't think you had to do that as far as like having them literally turn into like a human version of that.
That's kind of the conversation we had in part 1 of like,
do
they have fins or do they have hands? Do they have paws or do they have feet?
I guess that's implied because it's the fighting game format where you're just, you're transforming from one character into the next and you're still fighting, but there's no reason why you can't be on all fours doing that or just take on a whole other fighting style. Like it's your world to do what you want with in this. So, whatever serves your idea best. It's that first.
I like your fox a lot. I like how the tails are like, there's multiple, so it feels very like mystical.
Yeah, I like that you mimicked her hair in the tails.
Just like a really full head of hair.
It's really cool.
And the color choices for her outfit.
Yeah, I was going to say specifically, I like the design that you went with in her outfit. I like how all the colors match up. I like that her black boots going up to her thigh mimic the black coloration on the wolf. On the fox.
Yeah,
going up
like
the
it
legs.
looks like the fox is wearing boots.
I think that's really cool. It's a smart idea. But yeah, I love that the tails of that fox are still in the silhouette of the girl. That's awesome.
I also think if I just looked at the fox by itself, I could tell it's like feminine, which I like.
Yeah, and you can tell that it's not just a normal fox. Like the way that you exaggerated the anatomy and made it a bit weirder, and then had like that black mane going down the back.
I love it. It's pretty.
It has its own character. I think this one's really solid. But yeah, what was I going to say? I was going to say the texturing on this one, on the fox, is really cool. I like that you went with implying a lot of texture from the fur with brushes without, going in and noodling all the little details.
All the little hairs on the fox.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
That's awesome. Good job.
Solid silhouettes, clear translation. It looks great.
Next one is from the Mr. Fruits. All right, this is as finished as I'm able to get this. It definitely needs more work, but I'm out of time. Be Fishman, the lightweight and heavyweight. Careful, he'll grab you.
This is really cool.
That's really funny. That's a good idea.
Wait, what are those dudes called on the
Sumo wrestlers?
No. The dude on the right.
Blobfish.
Is that what it is?
I'm pretty sure it's a blobfish.
That is like...
It's like one of the ugliest fish. It looks like it has a big old nose.
But in terms of a solid character design, that's great. I love that silhouette.
That's a good idea to make something that looks like super, I mean, it's blobby, right? Into like a fighting thing. Like a sumo wrestler that has a similar silhouette, a similar shape.
Yeah, I honestly think that this one, like I could totally see this one in a fighting game, especially the transformation. I think you could even go a little heavier on the base character. Doesn't need to be super heavy, but just even more sumo. But you don't have to. But I think like that transformation just looks so cool.
It's awesome.
That, yeah, I don't know if you would mimic that more.
I think that it's hard. I would assume that it'd be really hard to give something that's that simple, like a lot of character. And I feel like you did. Just because it's just like, it's just a blob. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do you make it into something that's interesting and like, or funny or...
Well, it's a pose.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Keeping it really simple as far as the actual design goes, but
I think even the color
shapes
choice
are really good.
Because I don't think they're that color.
Yeah, they're pink.
Are they?
I'm pretty positive.
I follow this one like
Blobfish.
creator or whatever. He does like silicone molds of things and like prosthetics and stuff, and he makes these blobfish like things that are just made of silicone, and they're all painted like flesh tones.
Right.
That's what I was just assuming. But then he does like custom ones too.
Yeah, great job on this.
That's cool.
Don't have a lot to say about it. I mean, I guess one of the only things, aside from maybe making the base character a little heavier, would be some sort of pink introduced somewhere on the base character. Not that you need that, but just to kind of link the two together, even though it's pretty obvious that they're the two.
Yeah. Next one is from Crow Feathers. There's a paragraph written about it. Do you want me to read it?
I mean, I can read it if you want.
Sure.
Serval Kane is your everyday office worker. He doesn't like his coffee too hot or cold and not too bitter. He wakes up every morning and writes all the dreams that he can remember in his journal and lives his life through routine. He's remarkably friendly as he is, or he is as remarkable and friendly as he is forgettable. Okay.
You were reading it right. There's just some typos.
Yeah. However, behind this ordinary and charismatic man lies a terrible urge to transform into a bird. No. However, Serval wishes to find someone to fulfill him. A lonely bachelor. He likes to go on dates. He doesn't mind who, but he is always searching for the one. Someone who's pretty but doesn't catch the eye of everyone in the room. Someone who doesn't care which way the current would take the would-be couple. However, this never happens. He hides, his hidden narcissism makes it almost impossible. And with this dark urge, something peers through his thick glasses, a cold yellow stare. His dates would always end. What were you going to do?
Is he an incel?
Yes. His dates would always end with him being alone, cleaning up after the messes the two have made, with his unsuccessful match never to be seen or heard from, Serval or the rest of the world ever again. He's a pretty ordinary character, barely any fighting prowess outside of his owl-like slashes with his nails. He has a pretty passive human base form that can get aggressive the more times he grabs you. His owl form is a vicious, quick grappler whose vice grip can crack bone or shell on any poor soul he clutches. Cool.
It's funny.
I really like your base a lot.
I do too.
I think you made a very iconic looking character in terms of the read goes. Mm-hmm. It feels very much like, what's that Disney movie? Atlantis? What's that one? Uh-huh. It's not called Atlantis.
I think maybe it is. I think it is.
The Search for Atlantis. I don't know what it is, but the character
Atlantis,
from
Lost
that
City.
Looks like that.
Yeah.
With the big glasses and all.
Mm-hmm.
So I get the inspiration behind him. I like the idea that you have this weird, I'm guessing you're going for like an incel character based on your description. Mm-hmm. Like he thinks it all. I couldn't tell if reading that he thinks all his dates go poorly, but what really happens is the owl eats them. Mm-hmm. If that is the case, that's cool. But yeah, I like it. I like how spooky the owl is.
It's funny to describe somebody who like really wants to go on a date with somebody who's pretty but not too pretty, and then but the owl's really good at grappling and has a grip that can crack any bone. It's like,
yeah.
So is he gonna go beat up people because he can't get a date, or is he gonna go get somebody who he would potentially be on a date with and break their bones, or is he gonna be rejected and then go break their bones?
Probably all of it. I like that you went for a kind of like line decker rendering style on a lot of it. The way you kind of broke things down like geometrically throughout the whole design. It isn't super consistent in the feathers of the wing. I think you could have pushed that even more. Just because I can clearly see it on the base character in his sleeves and in the design of his collar and his glasses, even his hair and jawline, like all of that's very consistent. But then I think it kind of breaks down a bit in the pants. That's my only suggestion would be to kind of like make that sort of thing the consistent style throughout. Mm-hmm. And what I think would be cool, I know you're not doing this on purpose, but it looks like part of the arm of that owl is the S that all the kids drew in their notebooks. The 3 lines where you make it into the S.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's really cool. Mm-hmm. I like the anatomy of the owl. Owls are horrifying, by the way. We were watching a bunch of, we just happened upon a few TikToks of giant barn owls flying towards the camera. And you think that they're cute, and then you're like, these things are so gigantic in person.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're just like monsters with dead eyes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they make really good fighting game kind of characters because they're just straight up predators. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nightmare creatures. I like it a lot.
I would, I mean, not to like trash on your story or anything, because I think it's very nice to read about these characters and that you really thought about it. But I think that your art is strong enough that it speaks for itself. Like, I feel like you could tell that they go together. One's wearing a watch, and he's, like, clearly checking it. I feel like, I feel like there's a little bit of, maybe I'm projecting, but I feel like there's a little bit of a lack of confidence in your art that you needed to tell us the backstory, because I feel like it's pretty clear looking at it.
Roastmaster's back, baby.
No!
Roastmaster's back.
I just want...
She's this isn't a story from... R.L. Stein, famed Goosebumps author. You didn't give me the creeps.
No, I just think that, like...
Stick to painting owls.
If you were putting this in your portfolio just for the art...
Well, yeah, I'm sure
then you wouldn't be able to explain it, right?
Yeah. I think that... I think that it's fine if you want to, include all that stuff. It's... more or less, though, what you're going to see immediately reading the character. Mm-hmm. So if you can get as much of those kind of clues across in your image, I feel like it's always fun to guess what that character does anyway. There's a character in Guilty Gear that's like that, like a masochistic character that's like all tied up and stuff and uses knives or whatever. I can't remember. But there's a lot of characters like that, like tortured characters in fighting games, so they don't explain everything and you're just kind of like, oh, that's cool and creepy. I wonder why.
Everyone is just saying that.
She's ruthless, the art bully.
I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying I was actually giving a compliment. I was actually saying that the art is good enough to stand on its own.
She can't even give a compliment without roasting. Don't take that one to heart, Crow Feathers.
No, I think that it was really good.
She can't help it.
I wasn't trying to be mean.
The next one is from Riley Easter.
Okay. Jerry the... oh, I forgot what this one was. Jerry the bee. Well, here it is. I'm not too happy with it. And the bee form design was very rushed. But I started it, so may as well finish. Man, it's quick how a funny idea stops being funny. It's a lot of work. Feedback on Jerry may be helpful, but I know the bee form ain't great. Thanks for the challenge, and I look forward to actually taking the next one seriously. Also, I'm in the second round of applicants for a job as a 2D game artist. Think I should throw this in my portfolio? I'm unsure about it. Thanks, bro.
I think that you should definitely show this online in some fashion because it's really funny.
Are you kidding me? It's hilarious.
Yeah, I love that you did this, Jerry the bee. It's so stupid and awesome. But I mean, that's like a really fun, unlockable character. Like, I know this would never be in anything because it's Jerry Seinfeld and his likeness and whatever. But if it were, you know, like how in Mortal Kombat, they always add like, and coming to Mortal Kombat, it's Spawn, or it's, you know, it's Freddy or Jason or whatever other ICP tattoo kind of character that shows up.
Yeah. You would not expect this.
But if this showed up, I'd get that Mortal Kombat.
I
If Jerry
know.
Seinfeld showed up and he turned into a bee.
It's so funny.
Absolutely.
It's so dumb that he's just wearing a turtleneck and jeans and some like dad shoes. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. I think you're right in terms of the bee. The bee doesn't make sense without Jerry there. So I think like it's not clear that it has anything to do with Jerry necessarily. Like, I think even if like the bee, what's like the comedy take? Maybe he needs Jerry's hair and shoes or something, or the jeans.
He needs the shoes.
Yeah, like he needs something. He, like, maybe it's just a sleeveless sweater with, you know, like a sleeveless sweater with like turtleneck and all that, but like ripped with Jerry's hair and shoes.
Don't bees
like
have
you could just do something simple.
More legs, like, I don't know. Do they have 8 legs like spiders?
I mean, I don't want to get roasted. I don't know the answer.
Okay.
I actually don't
I wasn't
remember
going to roast you.
Are you sure? I don't think any of us are safe anymore. Judging from the chat.
Nice 200-word essay, but you wasted your time writing it. That is not.
That's from the chat. Asea Espadez posted that.
I didn't mean it like that. I just meant that the art was good.
If you come into the Thunderdome, don't be surprised when you get struck by lightning.
God, sometimes I wonder if I have Asperger's.
Not the time or place.
Yeah. Yeah. So
next one.
It's funny. Did you want to critique his feedback on Jerry?
Oh, feedback on Jerry.
He said it may be helpful, but he already knows that the bee form ain't great. That's what he was saying.
I mean, it always comes down to a likeness thing. Like, I've done likenesses for movies and things, like on posters and advertisements. I think like that's really it. You just need to sell that side of it. If I were you and I were to do like a deep dive on a concept that's based on somebody real, I would spend all my time on the likeness. Like, just refine it until you get it right. Like, do boring shit, like actually measure out the face of the reference that you're going to use and plan it that way. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to critique. I think it's a funny pose. I like that it feels like a dad about to get in a fight. Like, I like that a lot. I don't think you need to change anything about that. It's just, the face.
I was asking you about the bee's legs, by the way, not because I was going to say you're missing legs. I was going to say it would be funny if all of the legs had the dad shoes. Oh, yeah,
the shoes. Yeah. That's actually, there's this game called Bug Bumble for Nintendo 64. Not a lot of people played it. I liked it. Biggity Buck Bumble.
Okay.
And he had shoes on all his feet.
Oh, really? That's funny.
So the next one is from Andrew Aceas Badez Jacobs. This is Velvet the Fire Ant. It says, I know I'm cutting it close, so I didn't have time for a better presentation. The idea is a soldier who turns into a big fire ant. My goal was to make this character look like a mindless, sort of Nazi-looking soldier who uses her gloves for fire attacks. Not sure if it comes across well in the design. Any critique you could give me on this would be helpful. I really want to get better at this kind of thing and maybe add this to my portfolio. Thanks again for hosting these challenges for us. Well, no problem. It's fun to
awesome.
do. I think this is super solid.
Yeah.
So is it obvious that the hands produce fire? I think that you could probably, like, I get that it's like a brass knuckle type deal, but I honestly think you could do like the gloves are that, or like the whole front panel is that or something, rather than it just being like I'm giving you real crits because you asked for them. If the main feature is this fire thing, right? Mm-hmm. The glove should be about that, not just this one tiny thing. Like, because I think it doesn't come across as intimidating or that crazy. Like, it should be the glove.
Well,
the gloves should be something explosive that ignites or whatever.
Something that combusts or something.
Right, like it should look crazy, like when they're fighting, that it's like exploding on the punches and things. Like, I'm specifically thinking of like King of Fighters. I can't remember what character, but yeah, like that design, the integrated design should be there, just built into some glove thing. Because right now it looks like it's just this one piece here with it wrapped around the palm. Mm-hmm. But you could turn it into like almost a sleeker kind of design that fit the whole front of the hand here, and even like let's just say, so you're not overcomplicating your design, let's say like the metal part went down to the wrist right here, but it wasn't like chunky, it like hugged the hand still. You could have the knuckles have also those exhausts, so like when they punch, like fire explodes out the front. Something like that, just like something that makes it prominent on the character and less like a tiny accessory, because if it's so much of who they are, then it should be a bigger piece of the character itself. But I love the base character. I like the design of the whole thing. It doesn't come across as Nazi to me. I understand what you're going for, though. More critiques. You could extend that leather design that you have at the top of the pants. You could use that throughout the pants. The way that like a fire ant has that pattern on them. I would like the way that you have it on your fire ant. Like there's like multiple wrapping black parts around the butt of the ant. I would do that on the legs.
Like on the knees and stuff too?
Yeah, just to kind of like bring it through the design rather than it feeling like a random piece just on the thighs. Like whenever you introduce an element like that, you want to make sure that you repeat it, especially on a fighting game character, because you should only have like a handful of things that are going on to not overcomplicate the design. And that should be something that is consistent.
I just really like it.
Yeah, I think it's great. That's why I'm going in on it.
From a normal person who doesn't have any critiques, because I can't, I totally got that the fire was coming from the gloves, but like just like Dave said, the metal piece, that's what I would have assumed. I guess if you wanted it to be from the whole glove, be what Dave said. And then I like the little leather chaps, assless chaps thing, like that thing on top. That's like such a cool accessory, like in a real world fashion way. So that's cool. And I like all the repeating elements of like the like antenna, I guess, on her.
Yeah, antenna.
And then her like little, I don't know, the little like body modification things on her forehead, and then like the jewelry going from her, you know,
mandibles. I don't know what you call them. The spikes there.
Yeah.
Behind her, or to her ears, right?
Mm-hmm. And then her nose being pierced too, like all those little tiny things. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's great. But I'm trying to look for anything else that would be helpful.
As far as presentation goes, how would you present it any differently? I mean, since they said they didn't have time for it.
Oh, present it any differently?
Would you?
I don't think you have to.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to do anything extra if you don't want to. It's, as far as a character design goes, this works. But if you're interested in kind of playing with that, maybe just look at some of your favorite fighting games and how they present characters and illustrations. A lot of times when I'm trying to think up a way to show like singular characters in a nice composition, I'll look through Capcom Design Works. You can find that for free on the archive website. They have a bunch of old art books. You can grab it off of there and just like flip through, look for inspiration, because so much of those books is character concepts, and it's nice sometimes how they present them. One of the only things that stood out to me in this, and I don't think it's that big a deal, but the kind of elbow spikes, they stand out to me as a little weird on the ant. I don't know if it's because they're that color, or maybe they could be like black or something. I don't know. That's really the only thing that pops out to me, just because it feels kind of random when compared to the rest of the design, which is so cohesive, and they kind of go back to back and you can see all the parallels. But those, I think maybe it's because the only thing I see that's that same color is the steel from her knuckle plate thing. And I'm assuming that those
toes?
spikes on the elbows are metal.
What about the toes?
Yeah, but I'm assuming that like they feel metal to me.
Yeah.
Because like, yes, the toes are that, but look at the actual hand claws on the ant.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They're black and red. So I would assume that the toes would be black and red as well, because that's the part.
Unless they're a different material.
Yeah, unless they're metal.
I see what you're saying.
So it comes across to me that those pieces are metal and not organically a part of the ant. So I think that you could change that to make it a more consistent concept. Just because you also do that on the antenna, the end of the antenna has the black with the red tips, and it seems like that should be the same thing on the ant character. But yeah, that's really it. I think it's really cool.
Mosaic said that they like the little hat on the ant, and I had to look at it again, and I like it too.
Yeah, I love
funny.
that. So the next one is from I Tell Them I'm Busy. Saw this challenge 2 days ago and wanted to try and submit. Unfortunately, all I had time for was to refine the initial lines. Still really want to take it to final. Anyhow, a true chaotic neutral. Pinky is small but fierce, unpredictable, and in it only for themselves. All feathers and talons. The pint-sized rebel ready to take on the world. Cool.
That's funny.
Right away, I like the face. I like the base
nose.
character's face and the nose and the hair.
It all
and the
matches the
sideburns.
bird. Yes.
And then it goes right over into the bird and you get it.
100%.
That's the coolest part to me. Yeah, I won't go into too much detail just because it's not super finished. There's not a lot to go into. But the pose, the posture of the bird character, that's solid. I think you could exaggerate the pose on the base character a little bit more, maybe to kind of match how cool that creature pose is. But other than that, I think it's strong.
I think more like the bottom half of the girl.
Yeah, that's more
awkward,
what I'm
right?
talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because I like the kind of cross body pose of the creature, because usually there's this weird design thing that happens with character concept that I heard it once and it stuck with me. Was your character should always be the body, like if you're doing a pose for a concept, the body should be going like one way and the head should be turning another.
Oh, really?
Just as like a pose, it's more interesting to look at.
Than somebody like this.
Like, not that you can't do the dead on thing.
Yeah.
But whenever I heard that, I like started looking at a lot of concept art with that in mind. Just, I know it's like a kind of throwaway. This is a quick way to make it more interesting, something boring. But I always thought about that, and every time I look at concepts, I think like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me. Like that still applies here. So like that's, just the quick thing that you did on the bird. It made me think of that. So I'm like, the legs and the lower half are facing this way, and the upper body's turned.
Yeah.
It's like there's a little bit of interest there that helps sell it a bit more.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, let's move on.
I mean, even with me not knowing that rule, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's something that people will pick up on.
It's like a basic thing.
Mm-hmm. Nick Urkonis.
Yeah.
Yes, not yesterday. The other day when Nick was in the chat, he said, "Could you also do a critique when we get to his?" Okay. I don't think he's in the chat right now, but.
Okay.
Oh, he is.
Nick Urkonis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to read it?
Yeah, I can read it. Inspired by Rocksteady, I went with a punk rock rhino fighter. His name is probably Horn Dog or some shit. I really wish I had time to do color fills for the rhino. Plan on finishing tomorrow. Had a blast with this challenge and learned a ton. Thanks, Dave and Kim.
Horn Dog or some shit. I like that you say his name is probably like nobody knows.
I don't know.
Somebody else named him.
Yeah, he was born somewhere else.
I love that.
That's funny.
I love it.
Yeah.
I like how much character you put into that base character.
Mm-hmm.
I love his pose. I like how wild he looks. I like that you really went for it. You like pushed everything. You flexed them all out, made them all wiry with all, these muscles and like kind of like Iggy Pop body. And then you gave him that horn mohawk and, the classic jacket.
Dave had a jacket like this.
Yeah, I did. Once upon a time when I was wicked tough. Alleged serial killer. And then the transition to the rhino is pretty clear. Small things again. I like that the chain went up on the neck because he grew big.
Oh yeah, that's funny. That is smart.
I like that he had spiked brass knuckles in his base form, and now he has straight up horn spikes coming out, like
like his rhino horn.
Like his rhino horn coming out the knuckles. That's really cool. I like that you kept the. Oh wait, no. I guess I'm not seeing that. You kept the earrings. But I thought for a second that the ear was also like ripped. But that's
you
just
can't see the other.
Yeah, that's just like the crop of the red with the white. It looked like there might have been a chunk taken out.
Oh,
that's
I see.
My eyes playing tricks on me.
No, I could see that, yeah.
Yeah. It's real obvious that that's the same character, and it makes a lot of sense that he would turn into a rhino.
Mm-hmm.
As far as critiques go, I think it just comes down to basics. It's anatomy and form. Like if I were to, and I can't do this right now because I don't have your image opened up in anything, but as far as like wrapping forms to sell how something's bending, you have our left, his right leg, the base character. The folds aren't, or the wrinkles in the pants aren't following how the form actually moves. So you want to make sure that, like, let's say you're looking at my screen down here, right? Well, actually, just look at this. I'm wearing a band on my arm because I got KT tape, because I got some tendonitis going on or something.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you see how you're looking at it like this, and it's flat, right? You turn it a little bit away from the viewer, and it's still wrapping around my arm like that. And then even more so, you get more and more of a curve depending on the angle, right? So that knee is bent towards you like this. It's supposed to be. So you want to make sure that your lines and your folds and wrinkles wrap around that form this way. So you create the illusion of depth coming towards you. You think of like a cylinder, like a tunnel that you're driving through, right? And then there's all these bands on the tunnel going through, and you look into the distance, and they get closer and closer into the distance, right? Because of that perspective that's going on. You want to think about all of your body parts and your character, those forms, similarly, so that whenever you're putting in those wrinkles, they're informed by how that shape is either bent towards us or away or what. And then you can figure that out. But yeah, so some of that reads flat because the form isn't fully realized, whereas you have done it pretty successfully on that arm coming closest to us. Like that one, you handled it relatively well. Especially, having like the band on the arm going around. But yeah, it's mostly that.
The rhino has it on his shorts, like the more like wrapping.
Yeah, it's better there for sure. But I think that if you want to sell that depth, it's just something to keep in mind. And then you want to think about where shadows fall, those sorts of things, just to help sell your character in a space. Because when you render things a bit flat without a lot of like drop shadows, it makes the character kind of read flatter on the page. But you want to make sure that you have nice shadows in there and things, and it helps to do kind of reference pictures, whatever, quick things that you can do yourself. Take a picture of your own leg and pants, get a little action figure, wrap a little bit of cloth around it, take a picture of that leg in a bent position, things like that. But yeah, that's really it, because otherwise I think your design's really cool. Just keep studying, keep working at it. It's a cool idea.
I like Torn Dog. The next one is from Oro Noro. Dr. Milton Viss and Chitter. A deranged scientist obsessed with achieving the perfect form after hundreds of experiments with refined insect venom. His body has been warped into something inhuman. Alternate layout is here, which is another link.
Oh, there's another one too?
I struggled for so long to settle on the final concept that I ran out of time to do a full render. Maybe next time.
Well, I'll look at it right now, and I'll just go off the one that you have here. The only thing that I'm curious about that I don't see right away is the face of the base scientist character. I see it that you have one on the left that's like a guy wearing glasses, like spikes on his head. I see his nose and everything. But on the actual character, it looks like he's wearing almost like a
mask,
like a Metal Gear Solid type, Gray Fox thing. So I'm not sure if that's just a different character or just something they're wearing. But I think that the overall design translation going from one to the other is cool. I like all the colors that you chose. They go really well together. The general style that you're using, I feel like those two things blend well back and forth. It feels complete.
I really like the colors too.
Yeah, I even
colors
like
are really pretty and really strong.
I like the like 90s thing you did with the background. That graphic design shape with that stone texture.
Looks like carvings in the background with the characters, I guess.
Yeah, it feels like I could have seen this on the back of like a action figure type thing. Where you can see the transformation of your character. But yeah.
I also like that he's holding a real life insect, and then like it looks like he's like harvesting the poison in the vial or the flask.
Yeah, there's a little bit of story there.
And then that the bug has like, do you see the little vials on his shoulder?
Oh.
And he's holding one.
Right. I actually didn't notice
That's cool.
The back. So the back hand is getting lost to me on the transformation. I think that kind of elbow spike that's coming up, I don't see it coming up from behind the wing. So it makes that arm kind of disappear back there.
Right.
And also, I think the outline doesn't really help it because it makes it seem like it's part of the wing.
Yeah.
But if like the green outline broke the hand too across the wing, and then the hand itself with the vial also had an outline, that might make more sense. But yeah, it does blend in there and kind of flatten out. The face of your transformation creature, I think, is my favorite part. It feels very iconic. It's a nice simple shape, feels like a really cool like ceramic mask almost. I really like that. I like the textural quality that you have throughout that design. It feels almost like a bio suit type thing. Like it's like bionic, like, like organic armor or something like that. So that's a pretty good idea.
I like the crotch spikes.
Yeah, that is cool. But yeah, I think this one's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
If you
strong.
just if
I
you
looked
just
at the
fix
other
that
one.
arm,
I like this one better.
you looked at the
I
other
looked
one.
at the other one, yeah.
Yeah, I think that if you made that back arm bigger, maybe or something, just something to pop it out a bit more and make it more obvious that it's there, or go the other way and kind of bring the arm forward, like not that it needs to be a praying mantis, but you already have that thing there. Maybe like 2 arms or something, doing something like that. Just so that it's clear what that back arm's doing, because I really can't see it yet in this one. Not like, I mean, I clearly can't see it from the beginning of this. It's real hard to read on that. Super cool though.
Yeah, I liked it. Cool.
Trying to think of other things that you would do, but no, I think it's really solid.
I mean, we kind of said everything.
Yeah.
Next one is from Josh Barber. I'm not happy with the fighter. He needed more time, but here's Jerome the hyena. Sorry, every time I see Jerome, I always want to say Jeremy, because I had a patient who was named, it was spelled like that, and they were like, it's Jeremy.
And you were like, no, it's not.
It's Jerome. Here's Jerome the hyena. Props to everyone for getting to the finish line. Oops, looks like I forgot to turn off a layer.
Okay. So
he said he's not happy with the fighter, but he likes the hyena, which, I mean, I can see the fighter is more simplistic, but the pose is really strong.
yeah, I think you did a good job in the pose. I think that you could have pushed some aspects of it just to make it more like, okay, let me start by saying that your hyena is very exaggerated. The anatomy's wild. You went for it on that.
It's awesome.
You really pushed it.
I really like the hyena.
Yeah, the hyena comes across as just really cool. I also like the aesthetic you went for.
Yeah.
Because the shading style that you did on that foot and the back leg and the belly, like it feels like a very refined and cool, like kid's notebook almost. Like the aesthetic of it. Like I like that feeling. Again, it's the 90s thing. Like we just talked about it. Like I could see these being...
Oh, for
like,
sure.
I could see this fighting game being in the 90s, this being in an instruction booklet, even the textured paper background that you have, and there being like spray paint letters of like the name of the character with the description of where they came from.
Yeah.
Like I could totally see the whole thing there. And I think in that, like coming from that, I wanted to lay that out first because I think that you could have pushed Jerome's character way more. Like you could have made him like way more gnarly looking, because the tongue thing, like him being like a punk, him being like a, you know, like a goofy funny guy, like hyenas are traditionally, you know, made to be like they're laughing all the time. Like put as much hyena characteristics into your character as you can. Give him like a little bit of a hunch.
Can you give me a hyena laugh?
Yeah, sure. It goes like this.
Wipe out.
He goes. It's just like that. That's how I've actually been on the Serengeti.
I just needed a little reference for
and I've laughed
what I'm
with
looking
them.
for.
I am one of them.
Maybe some drool coming from his mouth, like he's rabid.
Yeah, I'm thinking
push
like
the craziness.
If you know what Ratfink is, like Ratfink is this classic character, like, you know, really nuts 90s design, no, not 90s, but like old school, like rat character that's kind of bug-eyed and crazy. Like I see that character turning into a hyena, and I see that mohawk kind of going back down the back of the hyena on your character, like going down into some weird mullet type thing. Like there's so many aspects of that hyena character that I would bring into your base character just to match, or at least be a parallel to what that transformation character is. Like you could really do a lot with that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
really
solid, cool.
Just so you know, on the last one, the right sketch is the left dude's face. He explained it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
When we were talking about how we didn't see it.
Right.
Nicholas says, I wouldn't consider this done, but figured I'd post here for critique, then finish it. Any advice on rendering or whatever you think would help most would be especially helpful. This is really cool.
It is really cool.
It's such a cute idea. And not like, it's like also scary, but it's really funny that he's wearing a mask and like he just looks like he has a dumb face. And he's
just like a cute mask.
Yeah, on this like buff dude who's just like, I fight.
I really like that he's bare chested, first of all, and that he just has that mask on.
I know.
That's really
so
good.
funny. And like he's just hairy everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, no, critiques. Do I have any critiques for this? I'm trying to think. I guess without really doing a whole lot to it, because I would say you could pose him more in a kind of bear type thing, or hunch him like we've talked about, because a lot of these characters have like a hunchback, and they don't need to be that, but just more of like the intensity of a bear. Like I think, and this isn't a bear character, but I think like Wolverine is a great characterization of that animality that comes out in some characters. Not that they need to be like that, but I guess maybe my own bias leaning towards like Marvel versus Capcom, that like hulking Wolverine, crouched down, really feral looking dude. Mm-hmm. I always think of that when I think of a character that's going to transform into like an animal. But you don't need to do that. Maybe, I don't know, you have the chest hair going on, so you don't need to do like a full beard or nothing. Yeah, I don't know what I could do to really improve it other than just add some design to him, maybe. Like add some sort of marks to him in terms of
it's kind of hard though, because
clothing.
Like wrestlers, like he's dressed like a wrestler.
No, but I mean like design on like patterning or something, or just something other than like yellow and black. But maybe even then, like I think it's fine. Maybe like a cute little like bear
face that's like cartoony on the underwear, like on the front.
You could do that.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, well, I will say this. The reason I'm like kind of iffy on that, even giving you that suggestion, is because I think that your transformation looks so cool with the bright yellow and black with the bear.
It looks good.
I guess one thing that I've always wanted to see, which doesn't really matter, but like in the transformation stages of characters, I always think it's cool if there's like an actual scarring type thing, that when it transforms into the animal, that the hair doesn't grow there and you just see through. So you get like this, it's subtle on the human, but on the character with all the fur, it turns into a pattern or something.
Yeah, I get that.
I like things like that. You don't have to do that. I was just thinking about that for the transformations. Like what else can you do that would be subtle design changes? Like if you thought about that with like the way people get the scarring tattooing done,
the scarification.
Yeah, like
it's not tattooing, it's like
that's what I mean. It's like a tattoo, where it's a permanent design. Scars. And then you transform into whatever you're going to transform in, and all of a sudden that would read really well because the hair would be there.
Yeah, and that would also be like a challenge to render out scars.
Yeah,
I feel like.
But I like how simple this is in terms of your one-to-one thing. I could see a character like this being in a King of Fighters type game. I feel like King of Fighters always does a really good job with simple characters wearing clothes that aren't too nuts or exaggerated or over-designed. Yeah.
Joshua Barber said that he was waiting for me to roast him.
See, you getting that dangerous reputation.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys are pushing it. I wasn't roasting anyone.
Oh, it was clear.
I wasn't roasting anyone.
There's a whole group
I already made
here
dinner. I
it.
don't need to roast anyone. Yeah.
Fabian.
There's I think. Yeah, Fabian. It's not Fabian.
Fabian. I would assume.
Banu?
I don't know. Hope I'm not too late. I kind of lost my way painting the rat and used the Pigman tutorial for the human form. It was a great help. Well, I'm glad it helped. There are definitely some areas that need a little more love, but man, this challenge was a blast. My idea was a junkyard mechanic that made his own prosthetic arm that extends in length and bears its claws in rat form. Would love some advice on making this portfolio worthy.
I love this.
Okay. First of all, to make it portfolio worthy, I think you could brighten up the background just so that the silhouettes pop off of it a bit more. I think it's a little dark and competes with their values a little bit. I would say you either go darker on the background or lighter, one or the other. Other than that, this is going to be one of those ones I don't have a lot to say about.
I really like it.
I think you really crushed this one. I love the design of I like the design of the mechanical arm on the rat, and I love the way it looks on the dude. There's one thing that immediately stands out to me that you could change and it would sell it just that much better, and that's that the mechanical hand on the guy is sitting in such an awkward space that it creates this weird tangent with the face and the arm. So it could almost read like that was behind the other arm because it's just in a strange position. So I think you need to break the arm below. Like just bring that pinky of the mechanical hand down to breaking through that arm silhouette, even if it's like halfway.
But both of the elbows are just almost touching that thigh too.
Right. Yeah, right. So you might have to bring the whole arm down a little bit. Yeah, that's
where
true.
Where it's like the top of that mechanical hand is like almost touching his face and almost touching the other arm, and then both elbows are just like almost like grazing the top of the thigh.
Yeah, that is a major tangent. It's what you call the fly swat effect, where like a character just feels like you hit it and it's just flat sitting there, like where all the limbs are like this kind of thing. And you want to overlap them and create depth by doing that. So make sure that you do that, because I think you'd be doing a disservice to how well you completed this challenge.
Yeah,
if
it's
you
so
didn't.
awesome.
Yeah, because I think it's super strong, and you don't have to really do anything to your rat. The rat works as is. If I had to...
Big thighs. I like big thighs.
Let me think about it. I think the end of the tail on the rat feels random. I don't think you need that piece.
Yeah, just make him kind of gross.
Yeah, you could give him just like a gnarly end of a rat tail, like kind of chewed up and like going through the air, just because the feet end that way. And
yeah, no shoes.
Yeah, like I think in terms of like
he's breaking out of the shorts, he's breaking out of everything.
Yeah, like the rule of threes thing, like it feels kind of uncomfortable that just going into a thing and stopping. Like I want to see the rat tail. Like it feels like there's a heavy thing that's gonna dangle there loose. Like it looks like it's fitting loose, so it would just fall off anyway.
I get that it's supposed to be like a weapon. Like if he whips the tail, the spikes are gonna hit the opponent. But I agree with you. I think it's unnecessary.
Yeah, it just distracts from how cool that hand is. The hand of the rat, the mechanical arm, is like enough to me. Like that's awesome. And the junk rat idea is great. Just that guy carrying around a backpack full of little spare parts and things. But seriously, great work on this. I think that it's really, really solid. The values in the nose on the guy and in the mouth, you could darken that. You could make that read a bit better and pop more. So I'm giving you these really specific critiques because I really like it. That's the reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, great. The 3D forms you rendered out on that hand on the rat really stand out.
If you go to the one, like the image below, he has like just the rat. It's so cool looking at it. Looking at like the claws on it, and then like the, I don't know, the actual mechanical terms, but it looks very mechanical.
Yeah.
Which is what you were going for, so
somebody
good job.
Somebody in the chat was saying that that they liked that the tail piece was stuck in the guy's backpack. I agree that it's nice to have those things there, but I think you could even if you chopped let's say you want to keep that piece, right? I would bring it down more on the rat's tail and make it like a ring on the tail. Like just have it
like
be something that follows, like hugs it, but then have the tail come through the other side
like
completely.
A cock ring?
Yes. Genuinely like that. I feel like that would look better than it does right now because it fits awkwardly there. Like if it were just actually wrapped around the tail and at a different spot, I think that would help.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, really cool.
I like it.
Oh, right. This was another version. Oronoro said, I wasn't really satisfied with the initial layout, so I made an alt in Photoshop.
And then in the chat, they were saying how they wanted to kind of like mimic something that you did for your background, as far as like that background shape or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I think I like the other one better.
Yeah, I do too. That's what I said.
Maybe it just feels like too much in this one.
It's funny because this one feels more like anime. The other one felt more video game like to me, which made more sense for the challenge in my head.
Yeah, maybe it's just because of like what I grew up with. But I love the other one because it reminds me of old PC stuff and like old graphic design. Like it makes sense with the style. We didn't grow up with the same things, and I like the other one better too. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you should change that up.
Yes.
So we are coming on our very last entry here. This one's from Big Breakfast.
No, we have 2 more.
Great name. We do?
Yeah, because Mosaic joined late.
After that.
Yeah.
All right, so second to last.
Yes. I know I'm days late on the submission, but I was completely swamped with work all last week. Still had a ton of fun with this. Pretty happy with how it came out. Pulled a lot of style inspiration from some Street Fighter character art. It was nice. It was a nice change of pace for me. Love all the submissions. Thanks again for organizing this, Dave. Reggie, a blonde, bar-fighting, beer-swinging, good-natured Australian who transforms into a golden bearded dragon for his beast form. That's funny. Big breakfast.
I love your bearded dragon. I love how I like the hat hanging out on the back.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
I think that's
it has
great.
like the little tie around the neck.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny.
I don't have a ton to say about this one. I think it's just pretty solid.
I like it.
I like the expression on the bearded dragon's face. I mean, what could you have done that would even help sell it more? It's very obvious that one turns into the other.
You know what's funny? It's very obvious that the dude is Australian. Which is a funny thought.
Yeah. I think you could have mimicked maybe the bearded dragon's beard more obviously in his beard. Just styled it out to spike out on the sides. Like flare out a bit rather than like going in. Mm-hmm. It could go out the way a bearded dragon's does.
A little messier.
Yeah. And then, I guess you could do that with like the hair on the sides too of his head. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I feel like you kept it pretty simple and strong, and it comes across that way, and it just works. Yeah. I'm just looking through it a bit more.
I know, it's kind of hard when you're just
anything.
like, I like it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to do a disservice because I feel like we've been doing some meaningful critiques for people, and I don't want to leave you lacking something. The obvious things are like you could always do more with anatomy. That goes for everybody, and maybe just like the adjustment on the hands on the bearded dragon. One feels very large compared to the other. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Maybe some more spiky texture on the tail, actually. Just because the tail feels very simple, as opposed to like the spikes you have on the arms here going down. Like you could have added some of that to the legs and then to the tail. Just to really bring it home, to make it all very consistent. But other than that, not much.
I know.
Really cool. It's funny.
I like it.
I like that he's just Reggie. And I like that I have to say this too. I like that you signed this Big Breakfast.
I know.
Big Breakfast is a great name.
It's funny because I just read it when we first started looking at it, and I was like, Big Breakfast, and I was like, oh yeah, that's his username. I just read it as if it was one of the characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Okay,
Really
last
cool.
one. From Mosaic. I am very late, so there's no color or rendering. Just a pirate axolotl.
Solid.
I like it.
Hey, I think this is cool. I wish you finished this one.
Oh,
The
that's
axolotl's really cool.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at.
I actually didn't think about it until I saw this, that How to Train Your Dragon looks like one of those things.
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure that's kind of the inspiration for it, but I didn't put that together until I saw this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's nice. If you just broke the silhouette behind the pirate guy, like if you just brought the axolotl's body behind, so it didn't disappear back there, and just had like the butt sticking out on the side of the pirate, and maybe the end of that anchor. But
yeah, because the tail ends up like blending in with the line of the coat, huh?
well, it's just that the character vanishes behind that form, and that's a tangent just in and of itself, unless it's like a design thing where it's shadow or something like that, where it's, you know,
Oh, okay.
a lot of anime stuff will do that, like that's your spirit thing, like swoops out of your form.
I think the axolotl should have been wearing the hat too.
Yeah, no, I like this one a lot.
It's cool. It's a good idea. I mean, only, and I'm not saying that just to be funny about the hat, but there's like, besides the jewelry, and the scar, there's not like a ton of other things. I know it's not completely finished, but like, there's not a completely other things that are like, this is the same character. It's like his companion.
Right. Yeah, I would have tied them together more. I'm trying to think of what you do with it because it's funny. Like, would you do the belt? Would you do like what
I
of
think
the clothes?
the hat,
The hat is the cutest idea.
but I also think that'd be funny because then it'd be like, you could still argue that it's the companion. We just got matching hats. I just wanted him to have a hat too.
Yeah.
I mean, the scar definitely sells it. I guess if he was rendered more, you could push that.
No, I just like that that's the transformation creature. That's such a cool idea, and I've never seen one rendered out like that, like some big, you know, anthropomorphic style axolotl. Like,
creepy arms.
That's so cool.
Kind of long, gangly thing. It is really cool.
Specifically, I like the way you drew the anchor, although you got to watch out for certain stuff, like unless it's supposed to be twisted, the anchor over the pirate's shoulder, it changes perspective as it gets close to his hand. So like the one in his hand, and this is something to just keep in mind for everybody, the one in his hand is turned as if like he was holding it towards you like this, and then it bends back this way.
Yeah.
And then changes perspective. But other than that, yeah, I would love to see you finish this. I know the challenge is over, but hey.
If you end up putting it in your portfolio, we do portfolio reviews.
Yeah.
Once a month.
Yeah, that does it.
That is.
We covered them.
All right.
There's so many good ones. This is like the last one was great. The last F-Zero challenge. I really liked that one. But I felt like this one, there's so much. I think because maybe because the prompt was open but specific, that it was inviting to be like, just go and do any old creature, but make them link up and whatever. And in the last one, we were like, do a character concept and have their ship relate to them.
Right.
But it wasn't very specific in terms of what kind of character, what kind of ship does it need to be, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I think that this one, I always like the idea of putting constraints on a challenge because it makes you think a little bit more. And you get a bit more creative when you have some constraints and a little bit more focus, and you can work within a box.
It's that thing when somebody says, when you're a kid, and they go, you can be anything you want to be. And that's just too overwhelming. And you have to like narrow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you can really flourish within like those constraints.
Yeah, that is true. That is like a funny thing about even doing like the art stuff. We talk about that a lot of like, it's too hard to kind of figure out how to become an artist in quotes. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
And to become
How do you
even to
define that?
become like something really specific, like a, you know, if you want to become an electrician, there's a whole discipline for it and steps, and it's very clear how you get to the end. But to become an artist who makes money, it's so vague.
It is.
And there's no step by step.
It's a lot of guessing.
Yeah. So it's like if you're not specific enough, you kind of open yourself up to failure often. Yeah. The next challenge, I think, once we kind of work out the boundaries of it in the announcement video, which is going to be the next thing we're posting up, you're gonna have a little bit open-ended, but you'll be constrained in how everything is structured. So you have 3 natural evolutions that are going to take place between the start of a character and the end, similar to Pokemon we talked about in the last video. But just to reiterate, that's going to be the next challenge, and you get to come at it from any style you want. I will keep mine simple because I'm doing 3 of these and they need to work together. So I'm going to go for a simple solid style that's probably like line, flat, cell shading or something like that. And then you can go horror, you can go fantasy, you can do Pokemon type thing, Digimon type thing, make up your own game. You can go to like Jade Cocoon levels if you know what that game is. You can go nuts.
To me, these are all like super obscure references because I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, Pokemon was a popular game.
I know Pokemon. I know what Pokemon is. Some of these other ones. Riley said that the next challenge makes him think of those weird Mafia mobile game ads. Don't know what those ones are. And Chicken Strike said, what's the best way to eat cottage cheese?
Yeah, did you ever figure that out? That was one of the things.
Yeah.
I literally, I don't remember if it was on your laptop or what, but I was
you needed my phone to look up something?
Yeah, and in the browser, I typed the first letter, how, like H, and it just said how to eat cottage cheese was a recent search. I was like, excuse me? And then that's when everything started to make sense. I was like, uh-oh. Who searches how to eat cottage cheese?
Okay, so the best way to eat cottage cheese is to use an immersion blender and make it smooth, and then you use it as a cheese substitute. It's healthier for you. There's more protein.
You heard it here first. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. We'll have the next challenge announcement video up
and we'll
shortly.
See you guys Thursday. Whoop, whoop.
And you see this? If I can figure it out and stretch enough, hopefully I'll be back in drawing shape.
Look, you guys, that's why there's 2 of us. If Dave can't draw on Thursday and we stream, this is what you get.
Yeah, Kim's going to draw. We're going to open it up. We're only going to give her the mouse, and she's going to have to figure it out. You're going to give her shout-outs from the chat, what to do next.
Yeah, okay.
And then she's going to start drawing it.
That's all we're going to do.
Yeah, if I can't
physically
draw, we'll do that.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for participating in the challenge, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, see ya.